Hey everybody, so I'm back with another video. This is gonna be like I'm gonna talk about a little bit of my flight, how it was when I came back from America to Sweden or to Europe, and I'm also gonna insert clips from when I was on the plane so you can kind of see. I don't know if I have any clips from like in the airport. I think it was just like on the plane. But I'm going to talk about some of the stuff I said on the plane, just to clarify, because when I was on the plane, I was by myself. I didn't have my husband. I didn't have anybody to ask me questions to, so I was like nervous and scared of what was happening. But he said it was normal. So I'll just jump right into that. When I was on the plane, it was an overnight flight coming from Miami to France, Charles de Gaulle. I'm sick, that's why my voice sounds like that, like this. I've been sick for like a week. Yeah. There was a lot of turbulence, and it was an overnight flight, and I was like really nervous and scared because of the turbulence and everything like that. My son was asleep in my lap, and then all of a sudden everything went black. The TV monitors went off, the lights, everything was just black. And I didn't understand what was happening, and I got really nervous, and I was kind of like crying, panicking. I didn't know what the hell was happening, where we were, or anything. But my husband said that it's normal, that sometimes they just have to reboot the systems. So you'll see me kind of like panicking a little bit in the next clip that I'm going to attach to this one, but he said it was normal, and everything was okay. So I just figured I'd talk about that first before you see the clip. And then, we'll start at the beginning. So I went to Sweden, or I went to America. I'm in Sweden now. I'm back in Sweden. I went to America on December 21st. I stayed there till January 10th. Yes. My sister-in-law drove me 5 hours to Miami International Airport. It was a pretty good drive. I mean, it wasn't bad. We got out a couple times, stretched our legs, which was nice. My son could get out and walk around a little while. She had the dogs with her, so we got to walk the dogs a little bit, and my nephew was there also. So that was really sad that we had to go 5-hour trip, but it was a smooth 5-hour trip, so that was nice. Where I live, where my mother lives in Tampa, there was everybody that I saw or came in contact with, for the most part, had a mask on in like all the shops. The closer you got down to Miami, like Fort Myers or Fort Lauderdale, and just like the closer we got, because we'd have to stop and get gas, it was like 50-50 wearing the masks. And when you go into like the gas station or the, wherever you're going to stop and get gas, or the rest area or something like that, it was 50-50, which I thought it was odd. I thought everybody would have them on, but they didn't. And it was like older people too, like standing in line buying like lotto and lottery, not caring, and just, no mask, whatever. So I was like, okay, I had a mask on the whole time. I didn't want to bring anything back. I didn't want to get sick. I'd leave my son in the car with my sister-in-law a lot of the time if I had to run in, just like when we were going down, just so that he didn't have to be exposed to any more stuff that he was already exposed to. I don't know. Just trying to be cautious. And then we arrived at Miami International. Me and my son got out of the car, said goodbye, grabbed a cart, went inside, and was kind of like walking around trying to find like the Air France section. So we found it pretty quickly. Now, before you could even like check in, like get in line to check in, there was a pre-line. And this pre-line guy was checking for COVID tests. He wanted a negative COVID test. So my turn came up in line. He's like, do you have another COVID test? And I said, no, I do not. He's like, well, you're going to have to rebook your flight. And I was like, wait a minute. I said, on this website here, I said, there's conflicting information. And they understand. I mean, everything is so new. There's so much crazy, weird this is okay one day, this is not okay the next day. The day before I had left, the day I was leaving, they had locked, I believe they had locked Sweden down the day before I was leaving. So I was like, oh, fuck, maybe it was even before that. I don't know. They had locked Sweden down. Denmark was locked down. I mean, it was just crazy, and it still is. And they're giving me a hard time. They're saying you need a negative COVID test, and I said, well, this website says that if you live in Scania, which is Skåne, the southern part of Sweden, that you should just be able to get right in. You don't need a COVID test because I'm not staying in Denmark. Because if you're going to Denmark, you require a COVID test. I said, I'm not staying in Denmark. I said, I'm going downstairs, and I'm taking an 11-minute train ride to Malmo. I said, and that's it. I said, and then I'm in Sweden. I said, I'll be out of Denmark in 11 minutes. I said, I'm not staying in Denmark. And, they're giving me a hard time. They're looking on the website. I'm standing there trying to call my husband. I'm like panicking. My Wi-Fi is not working. My credit cards aren't working. Because they had told me that if I can provide like a ticket that shows that I'm leaving Denmark the same day and going to Sweden, that they would let me go. So I'm like, okay. So I went on. We have here in Sweden, it's called the Skånetrafiken. It's where you buy your ticket for the train or the bus. So I went on there and I'm trying to buy a ticket for the next day, not activated, just like buy it. That shows that I'd be leaving Kastrup Airport and going to Sweden the very next day because it was an overnight flight. And my credit cards wouldn't work. And I'm trying all these different ones. I'm like fucking freaking out. I'm trying to call my husband. I'm trying to call my mother-in-law. Everybody's asleep. I'm like, oh my God, my sister-in-law just left. I'm never going to make it home. I'm not going to be able to rent a freaking room if my credit cards don't work, It was just like, I'm like, this is like, we're like 5 minutes in to this day. I've done 5 hours of this trip already. Now I've got a very long way to go, and it's like, it's already, showing signs of catastrophe. So I'm like freaking out. So finally I get a hold of my husband, and he buys a ticket for me and then sends it to me or something like that. I can't remember exactly what we did, but I got the ticket for Skånetrafiken, and I was able to show them like a Kastrup, which is in Denmark, to Sweden. It was like, I swear to God, an 11-minute train ride, and because it's the first stop. So they're like, okay, no problem, go ahead. So I was like, thank God, They're like, thank you. So I got checked in there. That was pretty good. That was easy. We checked in Air France. Then we went through security, and we went through customs. I think we went through customs. Pretty sure. Where's that coming out? Maybe no, I think we did. We first walked up. They're doing it at the same time. So they looked at your stuff, and then went through security, and then you could go to your gate. And I had some time to kill, I think. I don't think we really did anything. I think we just went straight to the gate, found the gate, and then just kind of like hung out. Maybe charged my phone. I'm not sure. It wasn't... I think I just tried to get to the gate as fast as I could. And I believe they were checking temperatures then, too, which was fine because we were okay. We weren't sick. So I got on the flight for Air France, and that was pretty easy. I think it was delayed by like 20 minutes, something like that, which wasn't bad. My son was a little antsy, but it was this time. It was like 9:30, so he was tired too. So I was like talking to another lady, and she also had a small child there that was around the same age as my son. And she's like, don't worry, they're going to sleep the whole time. And I'm like, oh, I hope so, I hope everything is okay and goes smooth. And we're going to get on the plane to go to France. And the boys board the mothers with children first, which is like awesome. And then people in wheelchairs. It really helps us out. And I really appreciate it. So she was first, and she had to break down her stroller, and there's this guy standing behind me, right? This young guy, and I'm standing there with my son, and this young guy, and he's got this guitar, and he's like, can I get around? And I said, excuse me? He's like, can I get around you? And I'm like, do you think that I would go if I couldn't go? I said, there's a woman in front of me with a child in a stroller. I said, if I can't go, you can't go. Well, there's a lot of people behind me. I said, I really highly doubt that they're going to take over the plane. You know, they're going to leave with the plane with 90% of the people still sitting back there. I said, so you can just relax a little bit. And I said, by the way, do you have a child? No, you have a guitar. I said, it's women and children first. I said, and then it's maybe a young guy with guitar. Okay, buddy? So just, like, slow your roll. I was pissed. I'm like, what do you think, that the fucking plane is going to take off without him? 95% of the people hadn't even gotten on the plane yet. Me and this other woman were the first people boarding. This guy was like loony bananas. Unbelievable. But anyways, so it's just like whatever. But then we got on the plane. We got a nice row to ourselves, me and my son. He ate and slept, and I'm gonna attach some videos there too. And it was really smooth. Well, there was quite a bit of turbulence. But it was a lot shorter of a flight. When we came from France to Miami, it was 11 hours. It was supposed to be 10. When we left Miami to go back to France, it was 7.5 hours. So that was like really good. And my son slept, I'd say 85% of the time. You know, he was asleep a lot. And then when the plane was landing, they noticed that we had a connection. So they let the people who had, like, close connections get off first. And, like, I had a child, so I was the first one off. And I tell you right now, this is crazy. I was getting up and getting my shit together and getting my son and everything. And the stupid guy with the guitar was trying to get off the plane behind me. I'm like, dude. You know, he was, like, up my ass again. I'm like, what is with this freaking guy, man? Like, holy crap. I mean, I understand you have a connection. But I think most of us here have connections. There's no reason for you to be like a rude ass, you know? I mean, holy crap. So, anyways. I got off the plane. I went through customs and border control and all that stuff again. And then when you're going to Air France, I'm sorry, when you're in Charles de Gaulle and you're going to your gate, before you could even, like, get into your gate area, they were checking temperatures. So they checked our temperature. That was fine. They let us through. And then I roll up to the gate, and I was just hanging out there because I saw time. Me and my son were just eating something. Maybe a sandwich or something. I don't remember what we were doing. Some snacks or something, and some water we were drinking. And this was now a 5-hour drive plus 7.5-hour flight. Now we are in Charles de Gaulle, and we have about 2 hours left to go to Denmark. So most of the trip is over, but of course we still have to run into a couple crazy things, right? So I noticed that they're boarding women and children. So I'm like, okay, cool. So I go get in that line. And the guy's like, where's your COVID test? And I'm like, I don't have one. He's like, well, you're not going. You can go. You can find another flight tomorrow. And I'm like, what are you talking about? They said it was okay. He's like, who said it was okay? Who told you that it was okay to come here without a COVID test? And I'm like, Miami, obviously. I just got off the plane. I'm like, are you serious, bro? Do you think that they wouldn't, they would just let random people on? Obviously they had a reason. And he wouldn't let me explain. He was being, like, really dickish and rude. And he's like, just go sit over there. And I'm like, oh my god. So now I'm, like, texting my husband again. I'm like, I'm stuck in fucking Paris. I don't know what to do. This guy's a dick. He won't listen to what I have to say. He's just, he was just being rude anyways. So then he came back over, and that's when he was, I guess maybe calmer because he had less people to board because he had boarded everybody. And he came over and he's talking to me, and I said, look, how I got on the plane in Miami was I provided a ticket showing them that I wasn't going to stay in Denmark, that I was leaving Denmark, and I was going to Sweden. And I said, according to Sweden, I can go there, or according to Denmark, if I live within this area, then it's okay to travel in between. And he's like, well, I don't know, let me talk to my supervisor. And I had to show him, like, my permanent resident card, that I was a resident of Sweden, my address, and all my passport and shit like that. And I showed him everything. He talked to his supervisor. Just like, he's like, do you have the ticket? And I said, yeah. I showed him my phone where it said Kastrup to Sweden, like, the same day now. It's just, like, in a couple hours. And he's like, oh, I don't know. I have to talk to my supervisor again. He's like, leaves and comes back, and he's like, go ahead, get on the plane. And I was just like, I didn't even ask, like, are you sure? I grabbed my son, and I ran on that fucking plane. And I got in that plane, and I sat down, and I was just like, thank you, God. I'm like, home sweet home, right? I'm like, thank you, Lord Jesus. I am on my way there. I texted my husband, and I'm like, I'm on my way. They let me go, which was great, because I know, like, if you get stuck in Paris, then you have to do like a 14-day quarantine. That's a lot of money, man. And it's not like my husband could leave and go get me. You know, oh, I'll be there in 10 minutes, I'll come get you. It's a different country. There were a lot of countries come from Sweden to Paris. So we were like nervous, like what the hell we were going to do. But at the last possible moment, the guy let me on the plane. So that was wonderful. So I get on that plane. My son is, at this point, he's tired. He's rattled up. He's done. He doesn't want to be on planes anymore. He doesn't want to be sitting. He's tired. He's jet lagged. He feels like crap. I feel like crap. Not like sick. We were just, jet lagged. We were just over the day because we had now, 24 hours of just going. And he's kind of grumpy on the plane and crying. And finally he falls asleep. And I actually fell asleep too, which is odd because I never usually fall asleep on planes. But I think I was just so tired that it just happened. So we both fell asleep on the plane. And then the plane arrived in Copenhagen, or Kastrup, I don't know, about 2 hours later, maybe an hour and 40 minutes later. It was a quick flight. And the middle seats were empty, so it was nice. It wasn't as busy going to Denmark this time as it was leaving Denmark to go to Paris. So that was kind of cool. And they were all super nice, very, very nice on the flight and everything. Nobody bothered us or nothing like that. It was fine. My son was asleep, and I'm like, okay, the plane has landed. I'm trying to wake him up. I'm like, August, wake up. And he's not waking up. He's just so tired, he's done. So I kind of just like lay him on the seat, and I get up, and like, at this point, everybody has left the plane. It's me and like the stewardess trying to clean up the plane. I'm still trying to wake up my son. But I figured, I'm not like in a rush now because I've already made it to Denmark. So I'm like 95% of my journey is done. So I'm like not even stressed anymore. So I'm like trying to wake him up. I get on my bags and stuff, and I'm like, come on, Bubba, let's go. And he wakes up, and he's kind of pissed, and he's angry, and he's not happy with me, but he gets up, and he starts walking off the plane and everything. I said, okay, we're going to go see Papa now. So then we go through, going through customs and all that stuff. So I pull up there, and they were so nice, they found me a stroller for my son, because he didn't want to walk anymore. And my shoes broke when I was in America, so I was wearing heels on the way back, and trying to carry my son, walk through an airport, carry a backpack, my purse, and hand luggage, and my son in heels. It was very, very, very hard. And he was crying, and he was tired, but they found me a stroller, and that was like a life freaking saver, because it was amazing, because he didn't want to walk anymore, and I just wanted to collapse. So I got the stroller. I got in like where they stamp your passport control in Denmark. And the lady, she came around, she was like looking for people who were EU citizens or residents. And I didn't know I could go through that line, but she grabbed me, and I went through the resident line. So it was like a part of the European Union, but for residents, like green card holder. So that was really cool. That was fast. They didn't give me any problems. They didn't ask me for a COVID test. They just said, if you want to take a COVID test when you get to Sweden, you can. But I was leaving, so it was just like in and out thing. I wasn't staying. When I got through there, then I just was like, okay, I text my husband. I'm like, all right, I'm through. I'm going to find the train and whatnot and get on the train. And he was already waiting for us at the train station, because like I said, it was only an 11-minute train ride. So he was already there waiting. So I took the elevator down. Of course, it was the wrong track, so I take the elevator back up and go to the other side of the tracks. I get down to the tracks, and this time, at this point, I have a cart with my luggage on it, and I'm carrying my son. And I'm trying to think now, like, I have to leave the cart at the airport. How am I going to get my son on the train and all my luggage? And I'm like a little bit freaking like, shit, what the hell? I'm like trying to, like, you can see like all these like things going on in my head trying to figure it out. And then finally these like really nice people came up, 2 random people, and they took my luggage and put it on the train for me, which was amazing. Really, really nice people. I mean, you run into some really trashy people, and you run into some really fucking awesome people. And I was really grateful to run into those people. Maybe you need to run into trashy people in order to appreciate the really good people that you run into. I don't know. Some words of wisdom. Anywho, so I'm on the train. Of course, I'm trying to activate the ticket, but my Wi-Fi doesn't work, and the woman keeps asking me for my ticket, and I keep trying to show her that I'm trying, and she sees it like spinning, and she's just like, whatever. So I bought a ticket, I just couldn't activate it. So therefore, I rode the train for free. Although, not for free, I bought the ticket, but it's good for a year. And then I tried to text my husband to let him know where I was, and that wasn't working because my Wi-Fi didn't work. So the 11 minutes went pretty quick, and then I'm like trying to figure out how the hell I'm going to get off the train, because they go pretty fast, you know what I mean? It's not like they wait very long. So this nice couple, the wife told the husband to take my bags off of the train, so he helped me, which was really awesome. And I get off the train. Now I'm in Sweden. Sorry. I'm in Sweden. And I'm now at the bottom of the train tracks. I have to go up, but there's fences everywhere, and they're not letting anybody through, and there's guards and police, and they have like gas masks on, and I'm like trying to call my husband, and my Wi-Fi's not working, and I'm like, how am I going to get my luggage over there? The guy's like so far away, and then my husband just pops up out of nowhere, but he's on the other side of the fence, he can't come over. So the police come up to me, and they helped me with my luggage, which was really awesome. But it was like really crazy with the big gas masks on and everything like that. And they checked my residency cards, and then they let me through, and they bring my bags over. And finally, I was with my husband, and the trip was just like, it was done. You know what I mean? We still had a couple-hour drive to home, but it was done. You know, it was home sweet home after that. So after all of that, it was a hell of a lot harder coming back to Europe than it was going to America. Now, I know things have changed, where they require COVID tests to go to the United States, but I don't have any plans to go there right now, so I'm not worried about that. So, yeah, all in all, I'm happy I did it. You know, I wanted to go to Florida to see my family, and I'm so glad that I got the opportunity to surprise my mother for Christmas, and just got the opportunity to go there. So I thank you guys very much for watching. I'm going to insert those other clips behind this one so you guys can kind of see on the plane. But just have a wonderful rest of your week. I'm sorry I haven't done anything in a while. I've been sick, and I've had a lot of homework to catch up on, and my son's been sick too. And yeah, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your week. Hej då allihopa, bye!